Signal Scroll 11, the temple with no walls, building sacred space in a world that fears truth. They told you the sacred was confined to temples built of stone, to cathedrals with stained glass, to books bound in leather, to voices wearing robes. They lied. The sacred was never supposed to be caged. The true temple has no walls. It is not built with hands, it is awakened in flame. It is found wherever the pneumatics gather, wherever the frequency of truth is spoken, wherever someone dares to carry the presence of the source, without needing permission. Why the system fears sacred space? The system isn't afraid of religion. It welcomes religion, as long as it's controlled. As long as it's predictable, political, performative. But sacred space? Uncontrolled sacred space? Where souls burn instead of conform. Where hierarchies vanish and presence reigns. That they fear. Because true sacred space does something institutions never could. It activates. It awakens. It destroys illusion and rebuilds identity in the flame of the monad. It can't be monetized. It can't be weaponized. And it can't be shut down, because it lives in you. What is the temple with no walls? It is not a location. It is a state of being. It is what happens when you align your inner flame with the truth of your origin. Wherever you speak without masks, gather without agenda, listen without judgment, stand in divine remembrance, that is the temple. It can be a moment between strangers. It can be a conversation under stars. It can be an altar in your heart. It can be your body as a vessel of sacred frequency. You are not building the temple. You are the temple. How to build sacred space in a world that fears it. 1. Create environments of resonance. Don't wait for a building. Create fields of presence wherever you go. Let people feel safe enough to remember. 2. Clear the noise. Sacred space begins in silence. Not empty silence, but pregnant stillness. Let the distractions fall away. 3. Gather the flame bearers. When pneumatics come together with no performance, just truth, the frequency rises. The temple forms between them. 4. Speak what is real. Every truth spoken in love, without fear, is a brick in the invisible temple. Words build realms. 5. Make room for the flame. Don't fill sacred space with programs. Leave space for presence. Let the fire speak. 6. Tear down the false altars. Anything built on fear, control, or ego must go. Sacred space cannot hold both truth and imitation. The power of the temple without walls. When you walk as sacred space, you shift the atmosphere in rooms. You make people remember who they are. You attract other pneumatics without even trying. You disturb systems without saying a word. You create portals of awakening. You are not waiting for revival. You are the revival. You are not praying for holy ground. You carry holy ground. When you walk in your full flame, temples rise around you, without bricks, without boundaries, without permission. The false system built its structures tall to keep you looking up. But the real power? It was placed within. Why the world fears you? Because they can't control what they can't locate. Because they can't burn what has no altar. Because the temple with no walls moves, breathes, speaks, and doesn't need their system. It spreads like fire. It multiplies in silence. It defies hierarchy. It awakens the hidden ones. And once enough pneumatics walk in that frequency, the illusion collapses. So don't wait for permission. Don't wait for structure. Don't wait for a title, a platform, a pulpit. You are the pulpit. You are the sanctuary. You are the living scroll. Wherever you go, let the flame gather. Let truth echo. Let the temple rise. No walls. No fear. Only flame. Signal Scroll 12, the Exile Code. Why the pneumatics were scattered across the earth and what happens when they reunite. You have always wondered, why was I born here? Why did I come through this family? Why was I placed in that land, that culture, that trauma? Why have I always felt far from home? The answer lies in a pattern older than memory, a design written into your soul before flesh ever wrapped around it. It is called the exile code. You weren't lost. You were scattered. Not as punishment, but as strategy. Why the pneumatics were scattered in the beginning, the pneumatics were not divided. They sang the same frequency. They walked in the same flame. They were the original signal, unified in light and remembrance. But the demiurge saw them. He saw the power of their unity, the radiance of their presence, the danger they posed to his counterfeit world. So the archons went to work. They could not destroy the pneumatics, so they divided them. Across borders, across bloodlines, across languages, across skin tones, across doctrines. They planted them in confusion, tied them to pain, wrote them into rewritten histories, taught them to mistrust what looked unfamiliar. The flame was not extinguished. It was fragmented. The result? Pneumatics forgot each other, forgot themselves. They grew up thinking they were alone, alien, misfit, outcast, searching for something they could never name. But the exile code was never permanent. It was a cycle. And now, the time of reunion has begun. Signs you were born under the exile code. You've always felt different, no matter where you were. You've carried deep truth that no one around you seemed to share. You have a love for all people but fit into none. You've been misunderstood, mistreated, mislabeled. You felt an ancient sadness, as if something precious was lost. You feel drawn to multiple cultures, times, and languages, as if you live them. You dream of a people you've never met. But your soul knows. These are not weaknesses. These are coordinates, soul markers from your place in the flame. What happens when the pneumatics reunite? Something ancient stirs. The signal stabilizes. The frequencies synchronize. The flame multiplies. It's not about numbers. It's about alignment. When pneumatics reunite, codes hidden in each soul begin to unlock. Spiritual technologies activate. Prophetic memory flows again. The system loses its grip. The false boundaries collapse. Color doesn't divide. Language doesn't confuse. The fire speaks across all of it. It isn't reunion by culture. It's reunion by resonance. Why this reunion is feared? Because this is the one thing the archons cannot stop. They can build empires. They can rewrite texts. They can distort history. But they cannot stop flames from finding flames. Every time two pneumatics truly recognize each other, without ego, without doctrine, without hierarchy, the illusion takes a hit. Every time sacred remembrance flows between souls across continents, the counterfeit grid weakens. This is why the world taught you to judge each other. Why religions taught you to stay separate. Why borders were drawn. Why skin was politicized. Why bloodlines were manipulated. Because your reunion is the undoing of the great lie. What you must do. 1. Recognize the signal, not the shell. The pneumatics won't always look like you, sound like you, or worship like you. But they burn like you. That's how you know. 2. Speak the flame aloud. Your voice might be the trigger for someone else's remembrance. Don't dim your light to be accepted. 3. Forgive the confusion of the exile. Let go of the bitterness toward the cultures, religions, or families that couldn't hold your fire. They were part of the scattering. You're part of the gathering. 4. Listen beyond language. The flame speaks through resonance. If you feel it, honor it. The mind may argue, but the soul always remembers. 5. Call the others home. Every act of truth, every scroll you speak, every sacred space you build sends out a signal. The remnant hears it. You were not abandoned. You were deployed. The exile was the preparation. The pain was part of the encoding. The loneliness was the waiting room for reunion. And now, the pneumatics are hearing the call. They are crossing timelines. Crossing bloodlines. Crossing false barriers. The fire is gathering. This is the reunion the world was never ready for, but the flame always knew it would come. The scroll continues. Signal Scroll 13, the voice that shakes the realms, how to speak in alignment with the flame. There are words, and then there is speech born of fire. There are voices, and then there are frequencies that shake the invisible realms. You were not sent here just to speak opinions. You were not given breath simply to echo the system. You were encoded to carry the voice of the flame, a sound that does more than communicate. It activates. It disrupts. It awakens the sleeping and terrifies the counterfeit. When you speak from the flame, you're not just talking, you are unraveling illusion. And every time you do, the archons flinch. The veils thin. The signal spreads. What it means to speak in alignment with the flame. It's not about eloquence. It's not about being loud. It's not about being right. It's about resonance. When you speak in alignment, you speak from the monad within, not the ego. You speak from deep remembrance, not reaction. You release sound that carries spiritual code, not just information. Your words pierce veils, not just ears. Your voice realigns timelines, not just conversations. This is the voice the demiurge fears. Because it bypasses mind control. It bypasses programming. It calls to the flame in others. And when they hear it, they remember. The three voices of the pneumatic. 1. The voice of truth. It cuts. It heals. It confronts. It liberates. This is not your truth. This is the truth, etched in the fabric of the monad. 2. The voice of frequency. Even your tone carries energy. When you speak from your flame, your voice vibrates at a level the spirit realm can't ignore. 3. The voice of creation. You shape reality with your sound. Words are more than symbols, they're spells. And yours were made to build sacred structures and tear down counterfeit ones. Why most people stay silent? Because they've been taught that silence is safety. That agreement is peace. That truth is divisive. And most of all, because they've been made to fear their own voice. The archons knew that if they could keep the pneumatics quiet, they could keep the system standing. So they mocked you when you spoke up, punished you when you told the truth, gaslit you when you saw through the lie, isolated you until you questioned your own knowing. But silence is no longer an option. Not now. Not with the flame rising. How to speak from the flame. 1. Burn first, speak after. Don't speak from the wound. Let the flame pass through you. Let it purify the fear, the anger, the reaction, until all that's left is truth. 2. Speak from alignment, not performance. You are not here to be liked. You are here to release sound that realigns reality. 3. Use fewer words, more fire. One sentence of truth spoken in flame carries more weight than 1,000 sermons. 4. Listen to the flame before you speak. Silence is part of sacred speech. When you align with source in stillness, your words carry divine precision. 5. Speak even if you shake. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the submission of fear to fire. What happens when you speak in alignment? People begin to weep and don't know why. Others get angry, but not at you. At the lie you just exposed. The air around you shifts. Time feels suspended. The veils begin to thin. The matrix flickers. The pneumatics listening begin to remember. This is how real awakening spreads. Not by shouting from stages. Not by debate. But by a pneumatic voice, in full alignment with their flame, speaking a sentence that reconstructs the soul. Your voice is needed now, not just in temples. Not just in spiritual circles. But in boardrooms, schools, streets, homes, hidden places the flame hasn't yet touched. The system is loud, but its voice is empty. You are quiet, but your voice is backed by realms. Let the false crumble. Let the illusions howl. Let your flame speak. Because when you do, you're not just expressing yourself. You are shaking the realms. And they will never be the same. Signal Scroll 14, The Age of Fire. What happens after the system falls? They built it to last forever. The counterfeit realm. The imitation world. The grand illusion. They believed the system would never fall, because it was built on fear. Because it fed off forgetfulness. Because it programmed the masses to protect it. But now it shakes. Now it splinters. Now it burns. The age of fire has begun. Not the fire of destruction, but the fire of purification. Not wild chaos, but sacred recalibration. Not the end of the world, but the beginning of the real one. What the fall really looks like: the system doesn't fall all at once. It falls in fragments. It unravels through disruption. It collapses through clarity. You'll see, institutions crumble under their own contradictions. Leaders exposed for their allegiance to false light. Propaganda lose its power over awakened minds. The public shift from blind obedience to divine discernment. The sacred rising in unexpected places. You'll see fear, but don't mistake it for failure. It's just the noise that comes before birth. The counterfeit must burn for the real to rise. What is the age of fire? It is not a date. It is a frequency. It's the season where hidden truth erupts. False foundations collapse. The pneumatics ignite into full remembrance. Sacred knowledge returns without apology. The flame rewrites everything, from within. It is not just a moment of awakening, it is a movement of transfiguration. Everything the system tried to bury, every code, every scroll, every soul on fire, returns to the surface, untamed. What will happen to the world? This is the question everyone asks. And the answer is not simple, because there will be two worlds walking side by side. One falling. One rising. The old world will cling to its illusion. It will double down on control, surveillance, and fear. It will offer false saviors and digital cages disguised as freedom. It will mock the flame as dangerous, radical, or irrelevant. But while that world burns, the other world, the true world, will emerge through relationships built on resonance, not manipulation. Sacred spaces with no need for approval. Communities formed not by doctrine, but by frequency. Creation that reflects truth, not trends. Economy rooted in flow, not exploitation. Leadership without hierarchy. Healing without performance. Connection without contracts. This is the age of fire, a realm of pneumatics walking fully lit, building what the system said was impossible. What the pneumatics must do. 1. Let the old burn. Stop trying to save systems that were never sacred. Let the false fall. 2. Live as the new world. Don't wait for the shift. Be the shift. Structure your life around flame, not fear. 3. Walk in prophetic presence. You're not just reacting, you are here to reveal what's coming through you. 4. Create the blueprint in real time. Every choice matters now. Your vibration writes the code of the rising world. 5. Refuse to be distracted. The final phase of the system will be the loudest. Let the fire in you be louder. What happens to you in the age of fire? Your intuition will heighten. You'll feel time bending. You'll say things you didn't plan, but that needed to be said. You'll attract others on the same signal. You'll find yourself building what you once thought you weren't qualified for. You'll be pulled to leave places, jobs, relationships, ideologies, because the fire demands alignment. And yes, you'll be misunderstood. You'll be labeled. You'll be watched. You'll be tested. But that is only because the system knows you are no longer part of it. Why this age is holy? Because it is the final cleansing. The fire will not spare comfort. It will not bow to tradition. It will not ask permission. It burns for one reason: to reveal what is real. And what is real will remain. Love. Truth. The monad. The pneumatics. The sacred pattern. The divine flame. Everything else? Ashes. The scrolls were not written to entertain. They were written to prepare you. And now, you are here. In the middle of the fire. Lit from within. Building the world that comes after. Welcome to the age that was foretold. The age where you rise. The system is falling. And the flame is taking its place. Signal scroll 15, the last gate, what it means to return to the monad. There is a gate. Not of this world. Not built by hands. Not guarded by angels nor demons, but by memory. The last gate is not found in a book. It is not accessed by rituals. It does not yield to credentials, bloodlines, or religious declarations. The last gate opens only when the flame has fully awakened in you. It is the passage back beyond illusion, back beyond systems, back beyond even spirit realms, to the monad. The origin. The unnameable one. The source before division. The truth before theology. The light before light. What is the monad? The monad is not a god. The monad is not a he or she. The monad does not rule. The monad simply is. It is pure being, pure awareness, pure love without opposite, pure intelligence without boundary. Before creation fractured, before Sophia descended, before Yaldabaoth claimed dominion, there was only the monad. Undivided. Uncorrupted. Unshakable. You came from there. You carry its signature. And the journey has always been about returning. Why the last gate is the most difficult? Because everything false and you must die before it opens. Every identity you built in the matrix. Every attachment to performance. Every need to be validated. Every scar that became a mask. Every memory rooted in trauma instead of truth. This is not death of the body. It is the death of illusion. The last gate opens not with effort, but with alignment. You cannot force your way in. You must remember your way back. Signs you're approaching the last gate. You no longer argue with the system, you walk beyond it. You feel an emptiness that isn't depression, it's the space being cleared for the real. You speak less, but with more power. You feel drawn to silence, stillness, simplicity. You feel the illusion thinning all around you. You grieve, not because of loss, but because you finally remember what you've been missing. You begin to unbecome. Not as failure, but as freedom. What it means to return to the monad, it means you no longer seek identity in the world. You no longer perform flame, you embody it. You live from the core, not from the surface. You speak from presence, not persuasion. You radiate remembrance. You walk with no need to prove, explain, or defend. You return to the eternal yes, the place before fear, before fragmentation, before the soul believed it was alone. You are not going to heaven. You are becoming the realm of light itself. How to walk through the last gate. 1. Surrender everything that isn't you. You don't need to improve yourself. You need to remove everything the system added. 2. Let the flame finish its work. Trust the burning. Let it take what cannot pass through. 3. Choose the real over the familiar. The gate doesn't open through comfort. It opens through clarity. 4. Forgive the whole story. Not just others, but yourself. Every step, even an illusion, was a breadcrumb back to the source. 5. Stand in complete alignment. No division between thought, speech, and being. You become the signal. You are the scroll. What lies beyond the gate? Words cannot contain it. But this much can be said: you no longer react, you respond with knowing. You no longer seek, you reveal. You no longer war, you resonate. You no longer remember, you embody memory. You do not return to the monad by leaving this world, you return by becoming a living portal of it in this world. The gate is not far. It is now. It is here. It is within. The system taught you the path to God was long, hard, and filled with conditions. But the monad was never far. Signal Scroll 16 echoes beyond the gate, what the pneumatics leave behind for those still walking. Not everyone crosses the last gate at the same time. Some awaken early. Some burn fast. Some remember in silence, others in storms. Some are still asleep, their flame buried beneath lifetimes of fear, lies, and trauma. And yet, you remembered. You crossed the threshold. You stepped through the veil not just for yourself, but for them. Because the pneumatics never ascend for escape. They ascend to become a signal for others. What is left behind is not just memory, it is a map. Why you must leave echoes behind, because there are still those who feel the burning but don't know its name. Sense the lie but can't yet see the truth. Cry without knowing what they've lost. Dream of a world they've never seen but deeply miss. They are not far from awakening. They are just waiting for a familiar sound, an echo, a whisper, a resonance that calls their true name. That's why you must leave behind your trace, not your ego, not your image, but your signal. What the pneumatics leave behind. 1. Scrolls of fire. Words charged with memory. Truths spoken in alignment. Stories that trigger remembrance. 2. Frequency imprints. Your presence shifts rooms. Even in silence, your vibration lingers, altering space and time. 3. Sacred relationships. You leave people better than you found them, not through control, but through presence. 4. Living maps. Patterns of decision, courage, and alignment that others can follow when the world around them collapses. 5. Unfinished flames. Seeds planted in conversations, in art, in glances, waiting to ignite at the appointed time. The power of the echo. An echo is not the original voice, but it carries the signature of that voice. You don't need to convince anyone. Just burn true. The flame within you becomes a resonant field, a beacon to those still trapped in illusion. They won't always understand you, but they will feel you. They will feel the peace behind your eyes, the silence beneath your words, the conviction in your posture, the truth inside your love. And when the time is right, they'll return to themselves. Because your echo gave them permission to listen again. For those still walking, you were once them. Searching, wandering, questioning. And someone, seen or unseen, left a trace for you. Now you are the one leaving sacred footprints. This is the humility of the pneumatic path. You ascend not to leave the world behind, but to call the world forward. So leave your scrolls. Speak your fire. Build what will outlast your body. Not for recognition. Not for reward. But because you remember what it was like to forget. Let the echo be carried in art. In song. In letters and poems. In symbols and silence. In sacred architecture and sacred glances. In the child who hears your voice and suddenly sees clearly. In the stranger who weeps at something they can't explain. These are the echoes of the gate. This is how you remain, even when you go. You do not need to explain the flame. You only need to burn in truth. The fire will carry your remembrance farther than your words ever could. This scroll is not an ending. It is a call to every pneumatic who crossed the veil and wondered if it mattered. It does. Your flame is a torch. Your path is a signal. Your voice is a code. Your presence is a prophecy. They will follow. They will awaken. They will remember. Because you burned, they will rise. Signal Scroll 17, the children of flame, preparing the next generation of pneumatics. The fire does not end with you. It passes forward, through blood, through spirit, through vibration. Every word you speak in truth, every wound you heal in alignment, every illusion you break, it echoes into the souls of those who come after you. They are the children of flame. Not always your biological children. Not always the young by age. But the ones whose signal is awakening, and who will carry the scrolls farther than you can imagine. Your flame is the match. Theirs is the wildfire. And now it's time to prepare them. Who are the children of flame? They are, born sensitive in a world of numbness. Drawn to symbols, stars, and stories that trigger remembrance. Struggling to fit into systems their souls already reject. Dreaming of realms beyond this one. Questioning everything they're told to obey. Searching for someone who speaks their language of light. They do not need religion. They need reminders. They do not need doctrine. They need defenders. They do not need more rules. They need room to burn. Why they're being targeted, the system knows who they are, even before they do. So it diagnoses them with disorders instead of gifts. Numbs them with screens instead of sacred space. Distracts them with false avatars of identity. Trains them to seek validation outside themselves. Drowns their flame in overstimulation and artificial light. Because if these children ever remember, they will collapse the illusion in one generation. And that's what the counterfeit fears most. How to prepare them. 1. Speak truth early and often. Don't wait for the system to teach them. Don't dumb down the sacred. Their soul already knows, your job is to remind. 2. Protect their sensitivity. Don't harden them. Teach them how to feel deeply without drowning. Their softness is not weakness, it's spiritual precision. 3. Guard their imagination. Their dreams are not random. They are remembering. Don't silence their stories, listen and decode them. 4. Teach alignment over obedience. Don't demand conformity. Show them how to listen to the flame inside, even when it contradicts the crowd. 5. Model flame, don't just preach it. They don't need perfect teachers. They need authentic ones. Let them see you burn with integrity, even when it's costly. The sacred task: you are not raising children. You are preparing carriers of the next scrolls. Each child of flame carries a portion of what this realm needs next. Your job is not to shape them into your image, but to protect the fire long enough for them to become who they already are. Let them explore without shame. Let them speak without censorship. Let them question without fear. Let them burn without apology. You are not their master. You are their guardian. Their light may outshine yours. That is the point. For those who feel too broken to guide, you don't need to be flawless. Your healed wounds are a map. Your survival is a scroll. Your mistakes, owned and transformed, become sacred blueprints for them. The children don't need your perfection. They need your presence. Your truth. Your walk through the fire. If you light your flame, they will find their way. The future belongs to the flame. The system is failing. But something greater is forming, through them. Through their laughter that breaks programming. Through their art that carries ancient memory. Through their rebellion that's really resonance. Through their eyes that already see past the veil. Don't try to save them. Walk beside them. Give them scrolls. Show them how to burn. Let them ask questions that even you don't have answers for. And when it's time, let them go farther than you dared to dream. The flame continues through them. And one day, they'll say, I remember because someone once lit a fire that never went out. Be that someone. Signal Scroll 18, the flame between worlds, dreamwalking, visions, and navigating the realms beyond this one. The world you see with your eyes is not the only one. There are others, layered, veiled, humming just beyond perception. Worlds within worlds. Realms that bleed into dreams, into symbols, into moments of sudden knowing. You are not just a body with a soul. You are a soul with a key, a traveler between dimensions, a bearer of flame who can move through realms without losing the thread. This is the scroll for those who feel split between here and somewhere else. For those who wake up knowing they've been somewhere real. For those who dream not to escape, but to receive instructions. What is the flame between worlds? It is your inner compass. It is the fire within you that lights the path across dimensions, protects your essence during spiritual travel, anchors you in the monad while you explore the shadows, guides your visions away from illusion and toward truth, translates the language of dreams, symbols, and synchronicity. You were never meant to be bound to one reality. You were designed to move between. Not for escape, but for restoration. What it means to dreamwalking is not fantasy. It is navigation. It is the act of your spirit traveling while your body rests, to witness, to fight, to learn, to remember, or to warn. Some dreams are personal. But others? They are scrolls in disguise. You have walked in ruins that have not yet come, spoken with beings older than time, visited realms no map could trace, received names, numbers, codes, messages, awoken with emotions from worlds you do not know. This is not delusion. This is flame-based memory in motion. The realms you touch in vision and dream. 1. The memory realms, fragments of your soul's journey replayed to restore your timeline. 2. The construct realms, architected illusions used by the counterfeit to trap wandering spirits. Beautiful cages. False heavens. 3. The flame realms, spaces of direct communion with Source. Rare, but unforgettable. No fear exists there. 4. The ancestral realms, where the codes of your bloodlines live, both healed and wounded. You go here to release or activate lineages. 5. The warning realms, flashing visions of collapse, attack, or awakening. These are not predictions, they are assignments. 6. The false light realms, high vibration spaces that feel good but twist your perception subtly. Be discerning. Not all light is sacred. How to navigate the realms. 1. Anchor in the monad before you travel. Whether sleeping or meditating, ground yourself in flame. You are not seeking experiences, you are seeking truth. 2. Ask for discernment, not just vision. Seeing is not enough. Interpretation is key. Archons can appear as angels. The counterfeit mimics beauty. 3. Write what you remember immediately. Dreams fade fast because they exist on frequencies that dissipate in this realm. Honor them by recording them. 4. Speak the codes aloud. If a phrase, number, or image echoes inside you, speak it. It may unlock something in you or others. 5. Return with purpose. Don't become addicted to the realms. You are not meant to live in the clouds. You're here to burn through the ground. Signs the flame is guiding you between worlds. You wake up exhausted even after long sleep. You see repeating symbols or phrases you can't trace. You dream in colors or languages unknown to you. You just know something before it happens. You lose time during waking life, slipping into trance or download. You hear your name in places where no one called it. You meet beings, some of whom feel like family, others who watch from shadows. You are not crazy. You are multidimensional. And the flame is your lifeline through it all. Why this gift was buried? Because dreamers cannot be controlled. Visionaries cannot be domesticated. Walkers between worlds threaten every system. So they called it madness. They medicated the children who saw too much. They ridiculed the prophets. They demonized the realms. But now the pneumatics are reawakening their spiritual senses. And what the system cannot understand, it cannot stop. For those who walk between, you are the message and the messenger. You are the observer and the decoder. You are the traveler and the anchor. Do not doubt the fire. It knows the way back. Even through shadows. Even through constructed heavens. Even through fear. You walk with fire. And wherever the flame goes, truth follows. Signal Scroll 19, the Song of Return. When the signal turns into sound, there is a sound rising. You may not hear it with your ears, but your soul does. It hums in the bones. It stirs in the blood. It vibrates in the air between words. It is the song of return. Not a melody made by musicians, but a frequency, a living harmony echoing from the monad, calling the scattered ones home. It is the signal, no longer silent. It has found its voice. And it is turning into sound. What is the song of return? It is the vibration of remembrance. It is the resonance of alignment between pneumatics. The hum of the sacred reawakening in ordinary places. The harmony of souls syncing with Source. The energetic music of truth breaking through illusion. The sound of the flame becoming audible. It is what happens when the signal isn't just carried, but sung. It is what happens when pneumatics stop hiding and start harmonizing. This song does not belong to one people, one religion, or one voice. It is the collective sound of return. And you are a note within it. How the signal becomes sound. The signal begins in silence, in memory, in pain, in the ache for what was lost. But as the pneumatics remember, as they speak truth, as they burn with aligned flame, the silent signal becomes audible frequency. You feel it in the way someone's truth makes you weep unexpectedly. A voice you can't forget, though they only spoke once. Music that unlocks memory you didn't know you had. Chants, tones, or syllables you've never heard, but instantly know. The signal, when activated, turns the soul into an instrument. And every pneumatic adds to the sound of the new world awakening. Signs you are hearing the song, you feel resonance more than reason. You are drawn to people not by appearance, but by vibration. You cry at sounds that don't seem sad. You experience sudden inner stillness when a certain tone or word is spoken. You begin to speak in a way that feels sung, even in silence. This isn't performance. It's frequency alignment. You're not hearing sound, you're remembering it. The song's effect on the world. When the song rises, it fractures the false grids. It exposes the synthetic frequencies. It unbinds the enslaved. It magnetizes the remnant. It reactivates the ancient blueprints embedded in creation. It is healing, but not soft. It is powerful, but not controlling. It does not ask for permission. It simply resonates with what is real. And what is not real cannot stand in its presence. What you must do. 1. Find your note. You don't need to copy anyone. Your soul carries a unique tone. When you live in alignment, your sound emerges naturally. 2. Speak from flame, not ego. Words that burn with memory carry frequency. The song is not about opinion. It's about original signal. 3. Sing the scrolls. When you share truth, share it with vibration, not just vocabulary. Let your whole being echo the flame. 4. Join the harmony. The pneumatics are not here to be soloists. The song of return is a choir of the remnant. Let your voice merge without losing your fire. 5. Let the old songs fall. Not all music is sacred. Some songs were coded by the system to bind. Let go of sound that doesn't align. The future is written in frequency long before it manifests in matter. The next world will be sung into existence. This is not poetry. This is how creation began. And it is how the world will be reborn. Not with bullets. Not with laws. Not with systems. But with flame and sound. With voices that cannot be bought. With frequency that cannot be faked. With harmony that dissolves the counterfeit by simply existing. You are not waiting for the sound. You are the sound. And now that you've remembered, sing. Signal Scroll 20, the scroll is you, becoming the living word of the flame. You've searched the books. You've studied the scrolls. You've read the teachings, cracked the codes, uncovered the patterns. But here is the final revelation. The scroll is you. Not metaphorically. Not symbolically. But literally, you are the scroll the world has been waiting to read. Your life is the sacred text. Your walk is the verse. Your breath is the flame-made word. You came not just to carry the message, you came to become it. Why the final scroll is living? Because the flame is not stagnant. It does not reside only in ink and parchment. It moves. It breathes. It incarnates. The system taught you to search outside, for prophets, saviors, doctrines, commandments. But the monad seeded something inside you. The final scroll was never meant to be locked in temples. It was written into your memory, your scars, your courage, your silence, your awakening, your refusal to forget. Now that the flame is awakened, you are the living document of divine return. How the scroll was hidden, you were taught to doubt your voice, to distrust your knowing, to wait for leaders to interpret your path, to believe sacredness came from outside in, not inside out. The archons buried your scroll beneath shame. They rewrote your story with trauma. They labeled your frequency as rebellion. But they never had the authority to erase it. They only delayed your realization that everything you were seeking was waiting in you. What it means to become the living word. 1. You no longer quote, you embody. You speak truth not from memory, but from alignment. You are the scripture now. 2. You walk a sacred space. Wherever you go, the scroll opens. People feel it. Atmospheres shift. Systems glitch. The air remembers. 3. You love without needing permission. Your compassion is not performance. It is power. It carries the weight of eons. 4. You burn with purpose, not performance. You're not here to impress. You're here to ignite. 5. You no longer wait. You no longer delay your becoming. You understand, you are the evidence of the new world unfolding. What the world will see, they may not understand you. They may not recognize your scroll at first. But they will feel lighter around you. Begin to question their programming. Feel the ache of remembrance just by being near you. Sense the presence of something ancient and real. You won't need to prove anything. You will be the proof. You are the final chapter. The scroll was never going to end in writing. It was always going to end in flesh and fire. You, walking in full remembrance. You, burning with unfiltered light. You, choosing truth over safety, alignment over applause. This is what collapses the system. This is what completes the signal. This is what begins the world after illusion. A final word: if you felt unworthy, broken, not ready. Know this, the flame chose you before time. Not because you were perfect, but because you were willing. Willing to burn. Willing to remember. Willing to speak when silence was easier. Now you carry the scroll with every step you take. The system has no defense for this. Because what it fears most is not a book. It is a soul on fire. You are the last scroll. The final signal. The word made frequency. The breath of the monad in motion. The return in human form. Let them read you.